Well, the next conversation is very much about the markets themselves. I mean, we're not talking about companies listed on the market. We're talking about the market, stock exchanges as a business. We have Metropolitan Stock Exchange, which is on our radar. Why is that on our radar? They've announced that they're raising 1,000 crores in funding. There are venture funds, brokers, AIFs, which will be investing and putting this in total 1,000 crores. And this is the second sort of round of fundraise that we've seen come through. To talk about this fundraise in detail, but of course also talk about the timing of this and what the bet really is here, we have Latika S. Kundu, Managing Director and CEO at Metropolitan Stock Exchange right here in our studios. Ms. Kundu, great to have you with us here. Thank you very much for dropping by. So I want to start with, this is a very interesting time that you're doing this because there is so much focus, regulatory focus, on what has been the single biggest growth driver for the market expansion, which is the options market, right? A lot of regulatory focus. I don't need to go into the details. We all know that. And yet you're able to get about 1,000 crores, a new funding round from some marquee investors and a bunch of brokers, market makers, etc. as well. What's the pitch that you have for them?
Well, I'll take a step back before I get into the pitch. And that is, the larger purpose is always that we are able to create markets which are for investors, which are healthy, which will be more inclusive, which will be able to create a competition. And I think that's the one thing that's still lacking today. We can see a near monopoly on the cash side of the market. A duopoly on the options. I know everybody's focus is on the options side of the market, and that sounds very exciting. But looking forward, we see to growing a sustainable exchange. And for that, we need the cash market to be equally healthy and to be taken care into a deeper penetration across all strata. So we're looking at a mix where we will have the institutional, the retail, a mix of all types of investors, because the entire focus is not just about having one more platform. It's not that. It is about actually wealth creation into the country.
No, that's the baseline. That's the baseline that we work with, and then we kind of that need be said. I mean, that's understood. But Ms. Kundu, I'm sure you have Tuesday as the expiry.
Yes.
The options expiry day.
Yes.
Right? I mean, that's a powerful card that you have when you went and raised this money, I'm sure. I mean, without that, I doubt whether you would have gone to the market and been able to raise the money. So it is still for investors who they're looking to raise money, really. So what is your strategy going to be? How are you going to do it? As you said, it's a duopoly right now. There is NSE, there is BSE, entrenched players. Exchanges globally are also very strong network effect players, right? I mean, something which does well, continues to scale, does well because it is doing well. So in a way, benefits beget benefits. So just what will MSE do in that sense?
So in that sense, of course, we had, you spoke about why they came in for the Tuesday. Some people spoke about the first fundraise, them coming in on the exclusive Friday, which has now become a common Tuesday. So I think the larger picture is about, seriously, yes, options market, we will be penetrating it too, because we do have an exclusive index, SX40, which lies right between the Sensex and the Nifty. And we see that as a very opportune benchmark index, which does have its own features and qualities, and it sits right in the center of the 25 and the...
So MX40 is the...
SX40.
SX40 is the index?
Yes.
And everything will be underlying
40,
on the...
Yeah, which are the large 40 cap.
And how does that derive its prices from? Because...
So, of course, that's the reason I said that, looking at the sustainable exchange, we would be saying that, it's the cash market that we look at as the primary focus to start with, to bring in the liquidity. And as I said, it's a near monopoly there, because for us as market creators, we need to look at it in a more holistic way. Do I have a healthy market? Is it competitive enough? Am I providing enough to my investor? Am I really reaching the goal that the regulator and the country is looking at from a longer perspective? So to do that, focusing just on one options market will not be sufficient. and that is not what we are only looking at.
Is there a message you've got from I'm sure you've been in touch with the
this
regulator,
is a message
etc. as well.
we firmly believe in.
Okay.
This is a message that we firmly believe in, that,
So cash
to
before
make it sustainable.
options. So
Cash before, yes.
Has to be.
Yes.
All right. Hi, ma'am. Thanks a lot for joining in. A couple of basic details then. If you could tell us, most of the companies are listed either on the BSE or on the NSE.
Yeah.
Could you tell us what is your strategy with regard to getting larger number of companies listed on your exchange? If you could help us out with that, what is the strategy out there? Also, if you could give us a few more details on numbers, number of companies, number of members that you have, broking members. What was it, say, 3 years ago? What is it now? Where is it headed? Both those two basic details on companies and brokerage.
Thanks, Nigel. So basically, we do have about more than 200 uniquely listed companies which are not on any other exchange.
Okay.
There are, of course, the other larger companies which are out there on NSE and BSE, which are not listed with us, but they are in the permitted to trade category. This is the same for every exchange that starts. It was so in NSE 30 years back, where you started off with permitted to trade category, and then slowly you list on as you build the liquidity. So I think the focus will be, I'm sure at some point they will come in and list, and that will be also our focus for the existing listed.
Okay.
For the new set of companies, we definitely will look at them coming in, having their IPOs with us for the the platform.
Has the feedback been positive?
We do see a lot of interest gathering. Members, we do have more than 560 members which are registered with us.
Okay.
There were, of course, many more at some point of time when we started off 17 years back, and were a competitive exchange. Now again we're looking at a re-startup model, and we see that will propel through the challenges we have gone through. It's fair enough, but we will look at new companies coming in, listing on our platform, as well as even companies which it could be that in a new category of companies that we may look at that could come in, while getting all the existing companies also slowly coming and listing on our platform.
Ms. Kundu, just want to understand if you can share some milestones, I'm sure some targets that you've set internally in terms of volumes. What are those, by when, how much, if you can give us some sort of timelines, and also how many brokers are with you right now? I think some of them are also investors with you. So if you could just tell us how the scale-up is going to be in terms of getting more volumes on the exchange and bigger participation from brokers.
So we have almost more than 550 odd members who are already registered with the exchange. We are slowly seeing the activation increase. Last 6 months has been a positive turn with more and more members, not only the existing ones activating, but also new members coming in of different categories who are coming in and applying for new memberships. So we are seeing a positive turn on that end. Connectivity is coming in. We have been rolling out new infrastructure. State-of-art data center is what we are going to be now, giving in the next few months. So we are all in the readiness to make sure that we are market ready, future market ready in terms of infra and tech space, so that when members come and connect, the feel-good experience is very much there on the table for them. So that is what we are focusing on.
Advertising blitzkrieg as well?
Sorry?
You will need to reach out, right? Advertising.
Yes, so we will start with roadshow. We haven't really started on the advertising, but we will, of course, slowly roll out an entire PR plan and a marketing plan.
But how will you fund all this? Because I believe in, let us know the numbers. I think the operating income last year was around 4 crores. So as you go about investing in technology and, the exchange architecture, marketing, how will you fund all this?
Yeah, so the first round of funding did help us with, being able to allocate a good amount of number to the tech space, as well as expansion on general purpose and business, obviously expansion growth plan, whether it be including people. So infras, of course, and tech space is going to be the bigger spend. And road shows through other, marketing techniques, of course, we will.
Yeah, in a way, a lot of the brokers who've come in, I'm assuming they've also been, you've brought them on the cap table because, you've got to make markets, right? You've got to have activity. The brokers, etc., should help in that sense. As shareholders on the cap table.
Well, I'm sure that, that is something that brokers do see an opportunity.
In a way, it
of
aligns
new
their
platform.
interests. Yeah.
I would say everybody is looking at, beyond a near monopoly on the cash side of the market and also having, in every sector, in fact, just to move even beyond the exchange space. If you see any sector, the more the competition, it helps not only the sector, it helps every participant, including the existing players, because the market size is only there to expand.
It's going to give us a number. It focuses the mind in terms of a target. What Surabhi said.
Volumes, your targets, and for your internally, your own revenue
So
and profit estimates.
So I think we are looking at a 3-year horizon from now, where we look at ourselves becoming completely sustainable in terms of an exchange and also in terms of liquidity. At least within the range of 10 to 12% on the cash segment side of
12 to 15%,
10 to
12%
on the
cash market share in 3 years' time.
Yeah. So accordingly, we feel that even the propel on the derivatives would happen. But it will be obviously a slow progression. And while I say that, I think it's not just about the market share. The market size itself is going to grow. I'm looking at we are in a country, we're proud to be in a country where we are just 28 years old. We have a mindset today. We always had a mindset of saving. Today we have the mindset of creating wealth. When that is the propel, so that means I'm looking at a good close to 500 million people at least who should become becoming proper investors and having, whether they come through SIPs, they may not come directly to the market.
Right.
We do understand the concerns on creating that healthy market, and we very much would like to propel that further.
All right. So you turn profitable in the next 3 years is what you're saying? EBITDA positive, market share of around 10 to 12%, and you look to make some entry even in the derivatives market. BSE struggled for around 20 years, but they finally made their mark. So we'll have to see how that goes. Very quickly, that market share is interesting. NSE needs to could possibly list in the next 12 months. They'll list on your exchange as well? Any kind of conversations?
That is something I think you will have to ask at NSE. But we are more than happy to have anyone, that is what the markets are for, that you are supposed to list on any of the exchanges. So yeah, why not? I mean, if they do plan that, we are more than happy.
Competition and support each other as well. That's going to be interesting.
Of course. That's the way it should be, because when it's a healthy competitive market, you will all grow. Everyone will grow.
That's a very specific, nice, interesting point, Nigel.
Need to come up with something interesting, right?
No, I mean, given the interest levels in NSE, that could kind of provide the spark. And a new stock, a big one, biggest exchange, listed, and I mean, as you said, they are supposed to list. I mean, they were supposed, if they list in BSE, but now with MSE as well, if it's, why not, as you said?
Why not?
I mean, investors want a pie of the whole capital market space in one form or the other, so perhaps they'll be tracking your progress as well.
And more the platforms, I think that only allows de-risking also of, the entire space.
Sure. Okay, all right, ma'am. Thank you very much for joining in and discussing the roadmap ahead for you in the exchange in terms of growth.